Welcome to the Mental Pulse podcast. Today we have with us one of my former basketball players, Miss Sierra Jones. Welcome, Sierra.
Thank you for having me.
So glad to have you. Thanks for accepting. So, Sierra, to get us started, can you tell us who you are, your background, and your athletic identity story?
Yeah, so my name is Sierra Jones. I am 26 years old, technically from Huntsville, Alabama. My dad was military, so we moved here my seventh grade year. I went to Madison Academy for middle school and high school. I was blessed to be coached under you in high school and Coach Privet. Then I went off to Belmont University in Nashville, got my undergrad in Spanish, dreamed for a while to play overseas and I was able to get the opportunity. I played in Bilbao, Spain, it's northern Spain, about 2.5 hours from Madrid. Um, After that, I could have kept going, but I decided to go home, and I went to Auburn University to get my master's in Spanish. But then before COVID, I just had a change of heart, and I got into ministry. So I had a free ride actually to Auburn. I dropped it to get into ministry full time. So I was working for Chet Williams, who is the current football chaplain for Auburn football, and that was an incredible experience. But then COVID happened. So I came home, and then my old coach, Coach Privet, called me and asked, "Do you want to coach middle school?" So I accepted. So I was a middle school coach at Madison Academy. Really loved that, but always said it'd be a dream of mine to coach in the inner city, and I'm blessed that I got the opportunity. And now I'm currently the head coach at Mae Jemison, and I'm still in school. I'm getting my master's at UAH currently in English as a second language, and I also teach currently at Jemison and Rolling Hills with ESO.
Okay. So, talk about when you made that transition to that decision to stop playing. What
Mhm.
made how was that decision made?
That was a tough decision. I think a lot of people were shocked when I said I was done because I've been such a workhorse and always just basketball was life. But to be honest with you, it was two things. It was one, there in Spain, our practices were at 10 o'clock at night. So from the time I woke up till 10 o'clock at night, I'm a busybody, so I needed something to do. So I went to an all boys private school and I was an English teacher over there and also a sixth grade boys basketball coach. So I would walk like 3, 4 miles, catch the subway, go to that school for like majority of the day. Then I would go to another academy and teach English till about 8 o'clock at night, eat my dinner there, catch the subway, then go to practice. So doing that every single day, at one point I was just like, I can do all this back home and make a bigger impact. So that was one. And then two, I just truly felt like my time was up. Like I did what I said I was going to do. I never said how long. I just said I wanted to be a professional basketball player. And I did that. It just was 1 year.
So was it hard to give it up? I mean, because I'm sure you were identified. I mean, I know you were identified as that as Sierra, the basketball player. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what everybody knew you as. So was it hard
Mhm.
to kind of be somebody different, be a different version? Like Serena says, Serena 2.0. It was it different to be Sierra 2.0 when you came back to the States?
I honestly would say yes and no. No, because I was ready for it. I know a lot of athletes, their transition is awful because, say, they got hurt, it wasn't their choice to be done, or if they're a professional athlete and they got cut, it wasn't their choice to be done. But I had the choice. I had the choice to keep going and to stop, and I chose to stop. So, in that way, it was easy. And the way it wasn't, it was hard, was just the fact of, okay, what am I going to do now? Like, what is it like to not have to go to practice or not be forced to exercise, basically? That was the hardest part. The transition was okay. I had to kind of find myself outside of what I've been doing for what, 19 years. So,
Right, right. So when you made kind of transition from that, when you made the decision going to ministry, what I guess what brought you into that to ministry? Was it similar to athletics or was the love, the passion the same, or just tell us more about the ministry decision as well.
yeah, when I was at Auburn, I started going to FCA. Like, I heard about it, but wasn't sure if I could do it because, I'm not part of Auburn athletics. But one of my mentors had a connection to the football chaplain, and I reached out to him, and he asked me to start just coming by and just check in. I could be kind of like a mentor or whatever. Well, that turned into, well, I got a job opportunity for you. And I started to fall in love with being fresh. I mean, I was fresh out of playing, being done to help current athletes going through the same struggles that I did just 2 years ago or 1 year ago. I fell in love with it, and it just gave me a. It kind of replaced the feeling that I felt of not playing anymore, just because I was able to help so many. I mean, I was in charge of. I was like the women's ministry associate. That was like my official title, and I was just supposed to go to practice. So I went to gymnastics practices, softball, just sports that honestly don't get a lot of love. I went to equestrian, that was really cool. And I was able to start a Bible study too. But that was an awesome experience, and I think that's what also helped me transition better, just because I was quickly able to be hands on with athletes that going through the same things that I did, and I was really fresh out of it. Just I mean, a few months really. So.
So basically, it sounds like you were, we always had devotionals prior to games
Mhm.
at Masson Academy. So you basically were that person that was kind of associated with the team for each one of those teams. Is that what you basically
Mhm.
were? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, Mass Academy, we did devotionals and we had a person from FCA come in and kind of give a devotional prior to the game or prior, it could be the week prior as well. It don't have to be on the game day, but okay, understand that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
and it was optional. So like for softball, for instance, they had a lot of Sunday games. So those who wanted to, they couldn't go to church. So I was the one that came in and did like devotional. And I love that it wasn't forced. It was if you want to come, come. And it was just a very open, very chill environment.
Okay. So throughout all these transitions, right? The transition out of basketball, the transition from, into ministry, talk about your support system. What kind of support system did you have? Did you have one? Did you not have one?
I did, and I would say that that was helpful as well. I know, for instance, like my parents a huge support system. I know that like my dad was very. He's not gonna say it, but I know he was very. It was probably a harder transition for him than it was for me. Let's put it like that. When I stopped playing, just because they did not miss a game. I mean, my whole college career, I think they missed 2 games. One of them was like in Colorado, and another one was somewhere else far. Everything else they were there. And then when I was in Spain, my mom and my sister came twice. They came for Christmas. No, they came for Thanksgiving and spring break. So and then my friends, really, really good support system. I mean, especially when I told them that I was done. I mean, a lot of people they were shocked, but they supported me, and of course that always helps. You don't. We need other people's affirmations. We don't want to admit it because it does help. It makes it smoother. But it is nice to get those affirmations from those you care about the most, saying, "Hey, I support you. What you got next?" You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. I definitely remember your parents' commitment to the success of your career at Masson Academy. I remember very vividly how your mom, she basically got you on a great diet. She took the time.
Hmm.
So I remember you used to bring fruit I mean, you had your whole
Oh
meal
yeah.
prepped every
Uh
day
huh.
in bags. And I mean, just that dedication from your parents was just an eye-opening experience for me. I mean, I think about that now, type of stuff now, especially being a parent of what I like to do for my son when that time comes. But just the dedication your parents had and the commitment they had
Hmm.
to your success is pretty commendable. So but you were
Yeah.
talking about affirmations. Like that's important, especially to an athlete, speaking positive to yourself, but also having others to speak positive to you as well or
Mhm.
about you as well. Can you talk on that?
Yeah, that's huge. So I know for me, I can't stand that saying, "Whether sticks and stones and break my bones, the words never hurt me." Like that's one of the
Yep.
I think biggest lies because words hurt. I mean, it's in the Bible. Our tongue has the power of life or death, and affirmations in the same line of that. That's coming out of our mouth. So even for me, as when I was in my college and overseas career, those affirmations I need, especially being so far from home. Like I wasn't homesick or anything, but it was awesome getting those. Hold on, Okay, thanks. Sorry. It was awesome getting those affirmations from my friends, even if it was a text or if even it was just like a simple, I'm thinking about you, you're doing great, or just a call, quick second. Those went really far. And especially like when I was struggling in college, I'll say to this day, my three roommates, Christiana, Kayla, and Sunny, they saved me a lot of times. They didn't know it. Just for their presence of support, their affirmations of just saying, Sierra, you're gonna get through it, you're okay. Like that, if I can encourage any young person or any athlete right now, or even adult, like just making sure you have those people around you that are gonna speak life into you, that are going to be real with you if you're messing up or hold you accountable, say, hey, what are you doing? I think everyone needs that, and that's a part of being able to be successful or going after things that you want and achieving them.
Right. And I do agree with that. Affirmations, positive affirmations are very vital
Mhm.
for our mental as well as our emotional state of being. So how do you apply that as you're been a basketball coach at Mae Jemison for the girls basketball team? How are you applying that in a day-to-day basis with your team?
I'm making sure I have the role of being a cheerleader and also just being there. So even if that's, I love the relationship I have with my girls. They're comfortable coming up to me, not just about basketball, but just life. Like if they just had a breakup or just something happened at home or just little small stuff. Like I'm appreciative that we have the relationship because they need that someone positive. So even I'm big about complimenting, even if it's like their hair. I notice their hair is different, like, it goes far, just little things, or you notice that they painted their nails today, and usually they don't, small stuff like that. And with coaching, I take it in different ways. It's on the court and it's off the court. I'm thankful I'm there at the school with them. And then on the court, of being able to give those affirmations in a positive way, but still in being able to push them and challenge them and hold them accountable. I feel like if more coaches we got on board with that, man, we see a huge difference just in our sport of being able to give affirmations, accountability, all in a positive way.
Completely understand that and completely agree again with that because this day and age kids, this generation of kids, they're a different breed. I mean,
Mhm.
they can't take the demeaning comments and they can't
Mm-mm.
take the beating down of words as
Mm-mm.
we did back in as my generation, the generations before me did. So you have to stay positive. I know when I discipline my son, he gets really mad when you tell him that he's wrong. And, so you definitely have to find ways to kind of spin that, he's not correct. So that is very vital for the success of coaches. I feel like these days because the generation is completely different. They're very fragile and the
Yeah.
approach has to be thought thought out. It can't be, off the hip type of approach with them. You have to really think about what's the best way in not just the entire team, each individual person within that team. Because the way you coach one
Mhm.
person, the way you coach another person are completely different. So
Mhm. Mhm.
I think that's very important of staying positive to your team,
Yeah.
to your players. So one more thing before we get out of here is, all right, have you is this where you saw yourself when you was a young kid as like growing up? Did you see yourself being professional, being a professional athlete, just a professional athlete, and then continuing that career, or did you see yourself doing what you're doing today?
That's a really good question. Yes, in ways, no in others. So yes, growing up, I always said I was going to teach, I was going to coach, and I was going to play professional. That was my three dreams. And it's cool at 20, 25, really, last year that all came true. Like I was at 24, 23, that's when I played overseas. And then last year is when I got the head coaching job at Mae Jemison and then teaching English as a second language now. All that, yes. But what I would say I didn't know I would be at is one, I thought I would have been done with school by now, and I'm not. I wrote a book. I didn't think I would do that. Having a nonprofit, I didn't think I'd do that either. Here recently, I'm getting into being a fitness model. Did not think I'd do that. I still don't like pictures. That's an adjustment itself. I mean, I wore makeup for the first time for one shoot, and I was so ready to take it off as soon as we were done. All that, I did not expect any of that, nor in the ways that it's happened. But I do feel like because I'm on the correct journey that God has for me, some stuff is just I didn't know God was preparing me for, that He just kind of giving me. So I'm thankful. I am really shocked at some things that have happened that I've received, but also just ready and expecting more at the same time. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. I mean, a lot of times we see ourselves as certain things as a young kid because, we don't understand the trials and tribulations that sometimes happens to each of us in our lives, and sometimes we have to be able to adjust course, as people say, we have to pivot. And a lot of times,
Mhm.
what I saw as a young kid is not who I am today. I mean, I can speak that same thing for myself. So
Yeah.
so I completely understand and agree with what your response was. So, Sierra, I
Hmm.
really appreciate having you on today. Really appreciate you joining us on the Mental Pulse podcast. Thank you once again for being here and joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I had a good time.
All right, take care.